That's good with you.
That's great.
Yeah? Cool.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm just going to ask, where did it all begin?
So, yeah, looking back and trying to decide one beginning point is kind of, a hard thing to figure out, but really, kind of where the biggest shift happened for me was about a couple of years ago. I found myself in this place that I think a lot of women find themselves in, where we wanted to have a family, we wanted these certain things, and we created this life, and then we're just kind of in this response mode where we're just responding to all the urgent things and totally out of that creation mode. We no longer feel like our life is ours. Like we're just, changing a diaper and running to the school and doing this and doing that and just going back and forth. And I found myself in this place really like where there was this thing inside me that had been nagging at me saying, you need to do more, you need to do more. And I'm like, how can I do more? I can barely keep up with these kids.
Yeah.
But I had this passion and this just desire for, I guess, more of a purpose in my life. I mean, not that my children wasn't this huge purpose, but it felt very reactionary. It just felt like I'm just reacting. I'm just kind of putting out fires. And so where I found myself was I kind of had gotten into this place where I felt like I'm living in this temporary, do everything for my kids kind of mode, and I had completely neglected myself.
Yeah.
I mean, not completely, but, kind of had. I mean, I wanted to feed my kids healthy food, and I wanted to be a good example to them and stuff, and so I was pretty good at eating healthy, but I was really exhausted, and kind of there were a few little things that were kind of a wake-up call to me. One of them was, I found myself, when my kids wanted to go to the park, I found myself sitting in the car watching them play, because I was honestly too tired to get
Too tired to get out of the car.
To go play with them. I mean, how sad is that, right? It's
pretty bad.
And, and then the time, like I had told you before, where I was dropping my daughter off at gymnastics, and, putting kids in gymnastics here is a huge thing. I mean, it's like a car payment every month to pay for their tuition, and driving them there and back every single day. I mean, my daughter was going over 20 hours a week.
Wow.
And then their meets, you take them to these gymnastics meets, and they're hours long, and you sit through all this, and I just decided.
Did you get out of the car at that point, or?
What was that?
Did you get out of the car at the point when you went to the meets, or was you still sat in the car?
I did go in at the meets.
Okay.
So I was dropping her off at gymnastics once, and she's complaining about this conditioning they do, where they build up their strength so they can do all the routines and stuff, and she's complaining, I don't want to do the conditioning today. And I said, it's good for you. It makes you so strong. It makes you healthy. She said, Mom, what do you know? You don't work out. And it was one of those times where I knew she was right. But on the surface, it was like, well, how can I work out? I spend all my money on you and all my time driving you, and I can't work out, And I found myself kind of resenting my family for things they had never asked me to do.
Yeah.
They never asked me to give up all of this.
It's kind of your story then that you was telling yourself in your head. Yeah.
That was my story, and I really had bought into this idea that, I'm not going to work out right now because my kids need me to do this and that and whatever, and it really hit me then that it was time for me to start taking care of myself. Like, I'm not even playing with my kids at the park. I mean, how good of a mom am I if I can't even be a good example to them and can't even enjoy this time with them? And so this was kind of the big shift. And I feel like so many people do find themselves in this place where we don't realize we got into this reactionary, dealing with nothing but the urgent stuff kind of mode.
Yeah.
But it's tricky to get out of. Because I don't know a lot about like post-traumatic stress disorder, but I've heard some interviews with soldiers who come back from war who cannot function in a day-to-day basis. Like they can't go to the grocery store, they can't renew their license. These kind of things that seem trivial are impossible for them to do because they've been in this emergency mode for so long.
Yeah.
And so I don't think the scale is anything the same, but I think as moms we get in this place where you know, we used to have all of these plans and all these things that we were excited about that were something that would take some time to create and weren't urgent. And then we have all these kids who now need, you know, just interrupt our lives every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And everything's urgent. And then, you know, someone says, well, why don't you work out? It's like, work out? How can I work out when there's all these emergencies all the time, you know? And I just found myself in this place where this didn't work for me anymore.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I wasn't feeling fulfilled anymore. I had this passion of, you know, I really did want to share with other people what I knew about nutrition and what I knew that it could help them with, but I wasn't even whole myself.
No.
I wasn't healthy. I wasn't exercising. And so I started CrossFit. I started going to the gym every day, and this alone was this huge, like, it was the first time in such a long time that I'd invested in myself. And it was just huge for me because I took that time away from my family, and I was there at the gym and I felt like a complete person without a kid on my hip.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt like I was me and I was worthy just in being me.
Wow.
And I'm interacting with other adults, and I kind of saw this worthiness in me that I had forgotten about.
How many years had that been, Liz? How many years had that been from you feeling like that? How many like children in was you? For one.
Yeah, I had 6 kids by this point.
That's when you had 6. Wow, I didn't realise it was just a short period ago. Yeah.
Yeah, just 2 years ago. So
Wow.
I had the new baby, but it was just kind of a gradual thing. It snuck up on me, and I had done little businesses and little things on my own throughout the years. That anytime anything would start to get very big, I would feel guilty. I would feel like, oh, this is taking too much time away from my family, and I shouldn't be trying to provide for the family. My husband does that. He's doing fine. You know, this is selfish. And so I would kind of pull myself back into this box and didn't really recognize I was doing that. I had also, I don't want to go a ton into this, but I had also kind of had this, you know, I grew up in a big family. I was the 7th, and I kind of have this bossy personality, okay? It's just kind of
right, okay.
I'm ambitious and I'm driven, and I was really afraid of this part of my personality. I was so afraid people would figure out that I'm bossy and controlling and stuff. I had older siblings who were similar personalities, and I was like, oh, I can't be like that. I don't want to be the bossy one. So I'd really kind of shut my personality down too.
Right, okay.
Tried to just be nice like everybody else around me, and just tried to make everybody feel good. And a couple years ago, right around the same time when I started working out, I met this mentor who was the same personality as me, and it was beautiful. I saw it as something good instead of something bad. I saw that he wasn't afraid to tell people the things that they needed to hear.
Right.
You know, and there just aren't enough people like that. I mean, I have that ability, but I had shut it down, and I was just kind of doing what everybody else does. Oh yeah, you were right. Oh yeah, you know.
Yeah. Going with the flow.
Making people feel good and not helping them. And I really saw, you know, real love is not being afraid to tell someone what they need to hear. And I have this natural gift for that, and I've shut it down and made myself feel, you know, like it's like my personality is bad.
Yeah.
And when I saw this and really recognized this, I really developed this love for myself that I'd never had, and this love for the, you know, personality and I was given to be able to hold people accountable and help people get to where they want to get. And so that was kind of this purpose that was kind of coming up in me. And so when I found this wholeness in myself and gave myself permission to take care of myself and to work out and all this kind of stuff, and discovered how my life just came alive, you know, when I did this, I just felt amazing. And this is when I really wanted to share it with other people and wanted to create a business out of it. And my, you know, my natural gift, I had studied human biology. I graduated in that from college, and had a real understanding of what the body needs as far as nutrition and the right kind of exercise and the most efficient way to do that. And I'd always kind of been a coach for my friends and family, and they would always come to me for those kind of questions. So that was kind of the natural place for me to help others. And it's really interesting when I look today at who comes into my programs. it tends to be people who see that the biggest pain in their life is in their, that they know they need better health and, either want to lose weight or want to have more energy like I needed. But the underlying theme that's common with all of them is that almost all of them are women who are just for the first time giving themselves permission to take care of themselves. And they see that I've done that. They see that I stepped out of this box I created for myself and gave myself permission to exercise and to buy, organic food and, and spend some money on myself and invest in myself. And they see that I gave myself permission to do that and that I'm happy and that I'm a better mom because of it. And they want that.
Yeah. You're leading the way.
Attract. Yeah.
Yeah. Are they generally all mums, Liz, or are they sometimes
there's I have one in my program who you would look at her and you would think, wow, she could be a model, she's gorgeous, and she doesn't have any kids, and it was interesting to me because I really had to teach myself not to judge before people come into my program, not to say, oh, she doesn't need me. Because she came into my program and I always ask people, okay, well, what do you typically eat? And it was awesome. She said, well, I eat, ramen noodles. I don't know if you know what that is.
No, I don't know what that is.
Macaroni and cheese, just all of these, like, no nutrients, very processed, quick to make things, and then, Taco Bell and McDonald's. And that was kind of it. Like, she hadn't had a fruit or a vegetable that she could remember to tell me. Like, she can't remember the last time she ate something.
But she just looked stunning. She had like a nice figure and stuff.
She looked great. No, she looked great. She was young and had, she just looked really good. But she told me, she said, I get so tired halfway through the day. I don't even, like, I really like my job. She's a stylist and stuff. She's like, I really like my job, but I can't even, like, be present with the people there because I'm just so exhausted, And so and it also was, everybody comes with their stories and their reasons why they are where they are. And she kind of had this fear that if she started eating healthy and started exercising, that she and her husband wouldn't relate anymore. Because he was kind of the same way. He didn't exercise. He didn't eat healthy. She was so afraid that he would see her as too good for him or whatever, and they just wouldn't have the closeness they have.
Right.
And so it's always interesting to see what people's stories are that they come in with. Then as soon as they state them out loud, then I can say, okay, now you get to look at it. What's your choice? Do you want to choose to live the way you're living right now with your husband, or do you want to take this risk and see what it does to your marriage? And of course she wanted to take the risk, and it's been really cool because her husband actually fixed her bike for her, and they've gone biking together and trying to eat healthy with her, and it's really doing a lot for their relationship.
Brilliant. Excellent.
It's been fun to see that. But most of the women, for sure, most of them do have children and kind of resonate with my message because they have those similarities. But some of them, resonate with different parts of my story, I guess.
Yeah.
I have had some men also.
Yeah, so we were just talking earlier about the guy who's gone full on, full out. He's just been an animal with it, really. So I was just thinking I was the first guy, but obviously some guys actually just trouncing me with it as well. So if you want to just mention what happened with this guy then. So
this guy, his name's Garrett J. White, and he was my business coach, helping me set up my branding and stuff. And after months of hearing my message and helping me through it all, he didn't really, never on a conscious level thought about it. And then in January, he just said, Liz, I feel like I need to be drinking green smoothies. and he's an interesting guy because when he does something, he does it all out. I mean, he decided, he hated running, and he, decided, okay, I'm going to tackle this running thing. So he signed up for a marathon. I don't know how fast he did all this, but he ended up running a Ragnar relay himself. So it was over 100 miles he ran himself. So when he decides to do something, he does it. Excellent. So when he said in January, that he wanted to start green smoothies, he was at this point where he was amazingly fit because he was, doing CrossFit and doing all this stuff, and Ironmans and things. But he would drink protein shakes and then eat Taco Bell and McDonald's and just kind of garbage. And so when he said he needed to do green smoothies, I said, yeah, I think you do. So he didn't ask for a ton of instructions, but got just enough to get started. And